Let's talk
That talk
with
with
Cola.
Cola. Okay, well, we back for part two. And before we get started, I would like our guests, because we surely did not introduce you guys last week. So I want you guys to go ahead and take the time to introduce yourselves, please.
I'm Amber. I'm a nurse in Ohio, and that's that.
I am Mika. You will probably hear everybody on this call refer to me as Rand. I am a chef and loan processor, and I live in Wisconsin.
With the best cheese.
With the
And
best
I don't even
cheese.
eat.
All right, so we're gonna go right on into this. Last week, just a real recap. We touched on a lot. We unpacked a lot last week with having kids at a young age, the effects and impacts that it has on us as the young parent, as well as the kids that we are raising. And there was lot of different, um, input. Everybody had their own takes on it. This week, we are going to go in and we're going to talk about moving on without an apology for those challenges and impact. Yeah. So let's take this ride. We're gonna plant some seeds, some good seeds tonight, and let's go. Who would like to talk about moving on without an apology? Who would like to go first?
Amber, you got
I'll take this one off.
Okay, let's go.
Um,
Let's go.
so what I've realized along the way is the for me, because it's always personal, moving on without an apology, it's difficult at first because you always have to come to grips with the fact that you were hurt. You got to acknowledge your feelings, understand that your feelings are valid,
right.
but then once you do that, you have to forgive the other person
Hmm.
because that apology that you may be looking for, you may not get, and you will hold
Right.
that. So you literally have to, like, I know everybody heard a long time ago, everybody's grandmother probably told her, you got to forgive the person for yourself, which I didn't understand what that actually meant until, because it'll hold you, they'll have a hold on you. But once you
Hmm.
forgive them and you release it and you make peace with it within yourself, apology or not, you'll be fine, because you can get an apology and it still not be what you feel like you're
Right.
looking for, what you
Hmm.
need. And if you dwell on that apology, or if you dwell on looking for the validation that you wanted in that apology, you just go on and you'll keep doing the same vicious cycle. Because
Yeah.
the truth is that you have to forgive them. And then after you forgive them, you have to forgive yourself. You
Hmm.
have to forgive yourself for probably being angry, because I know that I went as a mother, and piggybacking off of our last podcast, it was difficult to come to grips that I did make mistakes,
Right.
and I may have made my son feel a certain type of way,
Hmm.
and owning that, owning that, and saying that, hey, I'm human, I make mistakes, but I am sorry for the way I made you feel. I remember on
Hmm.
the last show, we were talking about how people say, I'm sorry you feel that
Feel
way.
that way.
Hmm.
Right.
And they
Hmm.
don't take the responsibility for the fact that it was your actions that
Hmm.
might have
Hmm.
made me feel that way, or might have made a person feel that way. So it's not necessarily going to rectify any situation. And an apology is not always going to bring you the closure that you need.
Right.
So looking
Right.
for me, I feel like, as now that I'm have grown up and matured, that looking for an apology from people is almost pointless. If they do it, great. But once I have forgiven you, and for myself, pray about it. It may hurt. You may cry about it. You may feel a certain way about it or whatever. But once you
Hmm.
truly forgive a person for the wrong that they've done, it's not like you have to forgive them and keep dealing with them.
Right.
That wasn't the intent. The intent is to release that from yourself.
Hmm.
And believe
Hmm.
it or not, once you forgive a person, it's almost like it's kind of like well, it happened, and I've moved on. Now, if they
Mhm.
choose to still dwell in that negative space or whatever, that's the part where you're like, hey,
That's on
I've
you.
forgiven you. And the
Hmm.
rest of that is on you. And I like to use it kind of just to maybe use it in a different manner, or maybe say it in a different manner. It's almost like if you have a panhandler and they ask you for some money
Mhm.
and you give them $5 and they choose to use that $5 to buy liquor, that's not on you.
Mhm.
You did your part. Your part was to help. What they chose to do with that, that's between them and God, or
Yeah.
them and whoever their higher being is. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So you can't be like, oh, I'm not going to give you $5 because I know you're going to buy liquor. That's not for you. That's for them.
Right.
Right.
So for me, that's how I learned to move on without an apology, without acknowledgement. And my mother has passed away. So if you were on the last podcast, and there were some things that I wish that she may have done different or helped me with or talked to me about in certain situations. But she grew up in the South. In the South, it was what
Hmm.
I said is what I said. Do as I
Right.
say, not as I do, so
Mhm.
to speak.
Amen.
So I can't go back and have a conversation with her about it. So I had to forgive her for where I felt like she made a mistake. Then I had to forgive myself for what may have caused her to probably make that. I mean, because let's be honest,
Mhm.
I was pregnant at 14. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? She
Hmm.
didn't do that. I did that.
Right.
And forgave myself, and it don't bring it eventually brings a different type of peace. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So that's my take on it.
So for me, I mean, I every day is an opportunity to learn something else and to learn from a different situation. So when it comes to um, being able to forgive without an apology, I have to consider where the foundation in my life comes in. Where was I ever shown how to properly forgive? What does forgiveness really look like?
Mhm.
And as I got older, going off of the first part of the podcast last week, when talking about becoming a mother at a young age and certain areas I didn't learn how to love and things like that. For me, my biggest struggle in life is forgiveness towards my mother. And I'm not saying that as if she's a horrible person, but again, it goes back to, how was she raised? So there's
Mhm.
areas that I have to be mindful of, even in the moment of, now why you do that to me, or the questioning. We got to first be able to say, this person is limited, they're incapable, they're even wounded. So if they're all these things, how can I expect them to be a certain way just because it's my expectations or something
Mhm.
that I would not do. And it doesn't just end with my relationship with my mother, just even in relationships, periods. I mean, I've had relationships ended that wasn't that great how it ended. And I'm like still left feeling a sense of abandonment, questioning, was I not pretty enough? Was I not smart enough? Was I just not enough? And when I dig deep into those questions about self, in trying to prepare for forgiveness or learning how to forgive with the understanding of why, it always takes me back to the foundation
Mhm.
of, begging for a certain kind of attention or the certain level of affection. But instead of giving me that, I was criticized, or, I was provided with the very harsh words, or just something like that. It was just always those opportunities that were negative, growing up and even in adulthood, that still forced my hand on trying to figure out um, if I'm enough or how do I forgive this person. So
Okay.
Cole, you want to go?
Um, First, I didn't want them to think we was ignoring them, but we had a
Mhm.
question.
okay.
Um, let's go back and see.
I'm gonna touch on that one that Shay that lovely, which is my LS. I'm a hit that one hard.
Oh, I've
Yeah.
seen that too. Yeah.
For me, moving on without an apology isn't hard for me because I'd be like, I ain't done that. But I'll be honest, we talked about toxic things and
Mhm.
parents and all that. my mama was very toxic. You know, my
Mhm.
grandmother raised me with the help of her sister. You know, I had a village, so I didn't turn out, you know, as toxic as she, you know, she is. But she was, to be honest, like we didn't get along. I didn't like her. But she was a real nigga. I'm gonna be honest because she taught me some things she don't even know she taught me. Like pretty much the streets, not to be, you know, worried about what other people
Mhm.
Mhm.
think. You know, pretty much she had more heart than my dad. I'm gonna be honest with you. So that's why I'm like, okay, I even though you wasn't there, I learned from you. I know what I don't want to be, and I'm thankful for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is no hate in my heart, you know, towards her. When I see her, I still talk to her like she my mama. No disrespect, none of that, because she have taught me some things she don't even know she taught me.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, for me, mine's a little different, I guess, maybe a little bit. Um, mm-mm. Mom, if you see this, I'm sorry. I love you. But I remember when I was younger, I used to pray that the next day would be different and a very drastic and slow moving. Okay, you can read between the lines.
Yeah.
Not for me though. Um,
Mhm.
and uh, and I held that thing on for I mean, probably until my son was born, and he's 12. So let's say up until 12 years ago. Um, what made me what made it easier to forgive her, because I wrote a letter to her and everything, and the response she gave was, I'm sorry if I made you feel that way. Baby, when people apologize to me, that it's a whole trigger even to this day. Because that's not an apology.
Right.
All you said was, well, if you feel that way, my bad. That's you're not apologizing. You don't even believe what I'm telling you that I'm hurt about, right?
Right.
Or how it affected me. You're not acknowledging what I'm saying at all.
Right.
um which makes a whole nother trauma in other areas, which I'll possibly hit that too. But what made me forgive her, one thing, well, it's two things, but one thing was my spiritual father at the time. He's still my spiritual daddy, but my spiritual father at that time, that was really like under his leadership. um he broke down the Lord's Prayer, right? We even said that prayer for years because that's what you learn as a kid. That's what you know to say before you actually know that you can go deeper.
Mhm.
And he broke it down and he said, forgive those as you want them to forgive you. And you and you wouldn't want to, at that time, you wouldn't want to be judged off of the smallest thing because you couldn't forgive somebody off of their thing. And that
Right.
set with me because I'm like, oh, I do too much. Like I do too much. Like I need all the
All the
forgiveness, Lord.
forgiveness.
Like I need all the passes that you could possibly give me. Keep the guardian angels. Like I need all that. So that was my number one because I'm like, I'm not about to send myself. I'm not about to go through none of that stuff just because I can't just simply change my heart and change my viewpoint of a person that
Mhm.
really couldn't control who she was and what she was doing at that time because she didn't even realize what she was doing or causing at that time.
Right.
And then the biggest part was I was on a call with a sister of mine and she had prophets on the call. And the prophet like was reading out, I mean, details, right? And she said, is it somebody? I think she called my name or something. So I'm like, all right, this is weird. Because did you tell this lady my name? Because why does this lady know my name? Right? Because I ain't never had that type of experience where you call a person name. You either already know me or whatever.
Right.
So I responded and she said, it's people in your life that has disappointed you when you need them, they did not show up. Um, but the rest of your life is determined by how you respond to them going forward. They're going to call you, they're going to need things. And whatever you decide to do dictates how the rest of your life is going. So if I was you, I would move wisely. Right. So
Mhm.
I'm sitting there like, I don't know what that means because I'm not about to help nobody that could not help me when I needed the help. It's not happening. Right.
Right.
Now, back up. The reason I felt that way that day after that call, prior to that, my mom hadn't got herself completely together, right? So she was still trying to figure out life. My grandma was still alive, so she hadn't got herself fully together till my grandma passed. So that was prior. So she was still doing whatever she do. She still hadn't, healed on the inside and did whatever she needed to do to get herself to a certain place. And I had just left my first marriage. I felt like a failure. I felt like how I'm gonna raise these kids. I knew that I still had the foundation with him and his family, but it still was like, now I'm about to do this by myself. And I now have, at that time, it was 4 kids when I left my first marriage. And I called her and asked her, so years before the prophet call. Sorry, one day, years before the prophet call. And I called her and I said, I don't have any food in my house. It is Christmas. I just wanted, and I knew she just came into a little bit of money or whatever. And I said, I really need you to give me money so I can make sure the kids have stuff. I don't care about me. I just want to make sure they're okay. That lady said, the only money I have is in the bank and I don't want to touch that.
Oh.
And then fast forward, that was Christmas. So fast forward to January, she said, she called me while I'm in the store. Me and my would be soon to be second marriage. Me and him was in Target shopping. And I'm like, me and him just started dating. I can't ask her for them. That is tacky. So we in Target and she calls and says, your sister just called me because she needs X, Y, and Z. And I had to call my friend and get him to give her X, Y, and Z. Okay, I called you for food and you couldn't find it. My sister needed something and you made sure that you called somebody to go get it. Mm-hmm. That don't make sense to me. So then years later, when I get that call, help who? I'm not helping nobody. I don't ask for help unless I absolutely need it, first of all. And at that time, I wouldn't even ask her to do anything because she wouldn't do it, or it didn't come with anything, but it was I'll let you know when I want to, right? So when that call came, it literally was that I want to tell you, I don't even think a month later, my mom called, her TV had broke and she needed food. And when I literally fixed my heart to say, I don't have it, it's in the bank and I don't want to touch it, is what I wanted to say. The everything the lady said flashed across as if I was reading it on the billboard. And I said, okay. All right, I got this. I went and got her. She has not needed anything since that day. It was literally the turning point because I had to literally sit in myself. Of course, we're still with counseling. Sit with myself and say, are you going to sit in this thing and die from this thing because she didn't know better? Or because she couldn't give you what your expectations were? She didn't give it to you when you were younger, so she's not in a place to give it to you now. She isn't healed, so how's she going to heal you? So therefore, what you going to do with it? And I literally, not saying that I don't still have little struggles or little triggers, but they are nowhere near as bad and as traumatic as they used to be, because I literally made up in that moment, no longer will I hold her captive, and no longer will I give the power over to something that is not, I can't go back and fix it. She can't go back and kiss all my wounds. She can't go back to that day that I needed her the most. You can't, because now I'm not in a place to need you. I haven't needed you in the aspect since that day of me making sure that the rest of your life is fine. Now, when I tell you, if that ain't the deepest, because now you have to provide for this person that could not provide for you in the emotional aspect. Now, she kept food, baby. We ate. It might have been a chicken leg every day of the week, but we had the food. The bills was paid, right? But emotionally and mentally, she could not give me what she did not have. But as a kid, you don't know that, right? But when I tell you the level of maturity that had to come with that, to say, this is what I'm not going to do. This is what I am going to do. I'm going to love you on purpose. I'm going to love you hard. I'm going to make sure if you call me and say, like today, she needs something today. She lives 45 minutes from me. I say, no problem. I will bring it to you. Her response was, no, I don't want you to drive down here. You need it. I will bring it to you. Now I forgot. So I got to take it tomorrow. But it doesn't matter, because she will not go without. She will not feel from me what I felt from her. Not ever. Because I chose to forgive her. I chose to get past it, and I chose to be mature enough to know that she couldn't, Okay, so my twin said, "How did you feel when you found out that your mom was seeking therapy? Did you feel relieved?" Oh, who? Not mine. Who mom?
You get a MS.
I
Oh,
think
okay.
that was I think that was
For
a
for,
question that was watch
for
yourself.
Erie. All right, let's
Mm-hmm.
see. All right, so Erie, for me, when I saw me turning into my mom, let me pull it back up. When I see me turn into my mom, when I fought so hard to not, girl, not to be. So I prayed and asked to be better than what my mom was as a person. When my mom told me this year that she was okay, okay. So Erie, you gotta put that comment in the group because my good twin want to know how did you feel when you found your mom was seeking therapy. Let me touch on that part where you say you did not want to be like your mom. When I tell you if you said I was like my mom, I'm swinging.
Yeah, me too.
Mm.
Me too,
I'm
all day. To
swinging.
this
I
day,
didn't
I ain't gonna
care.
hold you.
I
Yeah,
didn't care who you were. You could be
yeah.
a full grown adult and I could have been 16. I'm nothing like her, is what I felt. I'm nothing
Hmm.
like her. You telling
Hmm.
me I'm like her. All I'm thinking of is everything negative. Nothing in my mind thought about the actual positive stuff because she wasn't all bad, right? She was definitely not the worst parent on God's green earth by far. But all
Hmm.
I could think about as a kid is all the negative stuff. When I tell you I hid my sexuality for years because my mom is bisexual. She's open with it. She will tell you who loves her is who she loves. So
Hmm.
that's how we were raised in that family. It does not matter. You could literally love a purple person, long as you're not doing nothing to them and they're not doing nothing to you. So no, I'm not gonna be no negative. Because if I actually say out my mouth that I like women, then I sound like her. But let me tell you what happened though. When you do that, you know how everybody say, if you point one finger, it's four pointing back. It is literally what happens. You literally end up being that person because you're judging them so much that you have to go through everything they went through to be able to see what they went through. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember when I started realizing how much I was my mom in the negative, right? I didn't get to the positive. In the negative, and then one day I think I said to my wife now, I said, the only thing that changes me from me and my mom is the fact that I haven't done drugs, like drugs, right?
Yeah.
And I said, but now I might really have to not even say anything negative about that because I don't want to know what that feels like.
Right.
Which is another thing you have to forgive because I don't want to know what that feels like. I watched the struggle. I watched me and my sister go through. And the longer I hold her in that, I'm going to have to feel what she felt. I'm going to have to understand what she went through. And I already had enough of it. I don't want no more. Let me look on the outside and help her get wherever she needs to go while I continue to help me get where I need to go. But when I tell you, this is the first relationship that I have been in that I have not cheated. And the only reason, one, I changed for myself, but two, it literally was that this is what you're supposed to be anyway. You
Hmm.
over there trying to do family and make sure you're absolutely different, but you literally did everything except for the one thing I just said.
Mm. So Candy just put a question. Says, so do you find yourself working extra hard to be the opposite of your mom's? So for me, as Lachey was saying, like if somebody was to say you act just like your mom, I would snap, like truly, like snap, like you. Where did you get that from? How could you get that? I'm nothing like her. But as you, very, very much like you, Lachey, like I can tell you right now what I took away from my mother in the negative from her. I was able that I know, like I'm a go-getter. My mom's always been a hustler. Like no matter what. My mom grew up very poor, struggled very hard, not able to read and write, you know what I'm saying? So that was her life. So in order to survive, she learned how to hustle and she learned how to blend in. Not only did she have to do that, but she had to do that as a Caucasian woman. You understand? So
Mm-hmm.
in a world where her parents were racist and she ran away from home. So in running away from home, now you have to survive on the streets and then you become a parent. So the areas in which that I noticed and the things that I noticed that I was able that I have pulled from her are those things, such as I'm never gonna let my kids struggle. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care how sick I may be, what kind of pain I'm in. I'm going to do what I have to do. So in those things, I definitely can say I got from my mother. So in learning how to forgive in certain areas, I'm reminded of those things, because without those things, where would I be right now? So a lot of times I have to take a step back, and evaluate, the dynamic of the relationship. As a traumatic or trauma response, I have found that my way of trying to forgive or heal was I overly did it. Like my mother lives in a different city. So if my sister called and said, yo, mom's in the hospital again, I would leave work. I would try and make it happen. I would take points from work. I have lost jobs. I'm on my way. I have done so much in those moments because that is what I wanted. I wanted my mom to see me enough to say, you know what? Okay, I love you, number one, which I haven't received, and I'm not looking for it anymore. Or thank you, or I'm sorry. But overly doing it, it's not going to get me what I thought I needed. It's not even what I want or need right now. It's what I thought I needed. And so I think that's part of my healing journey, as far as like the process and recognizing there are things about people that you come in contact with and that you have issues with, that at one point you like, I'm not messing with them until they apologize. I'm not talking to them until they make this right or own or be accountable or whatever that might look like. But I don't so much desire it. If it happens, it happens. But if it doesn't, and depending on how and what happened, determines where I leave you in my life. I have learned how to, and I'm still learning actually, how to set healthy boundaries. You're going to respect my boundaries. And just because they're our parents doesn't mean that we have to be in their space all the time. It does not mean that we have to be in close contact with them all the time. I can love you from a distance, and I'm going to continue to pray for your soul because you need it. But me and mine, I'm not sacrificing that no more. And that's how I've learned how to cope with it.
Coco,
So-
you want to answer? Oh, go ahead, Ray. I'm sorry.
Before she answers that, so for me, it wasn't. There was never a moment where. Well, I take that back. So for me, the only thing about me worrying about being my mom, it was never that. You know what I'm saying? I had an amazing mother, but I do wish that there were more talks and communication instead of always do this and then that's it. So that's the portion where I try not to repeat the same things, but I did initially. As a younger mother, I repeated the same thing because that's what I saw. It wasn't until I matured that I knew that, my kids' feelings matter. You know what I'm saying? And explaining them why you should or should not do something, I was able to reflect back on myself and say to myself, like, hey, the reason that you did most of the stuff you did because there was no explanation. It was just don't do it. So I do wish in that aspect, I'm glad that in that aspect, I do a lot better now. But other than that, my mom, she had her struggle moments. As far as, going through rough relationship or anything like that. But as a person, as an individual, she was amazing. She had a spirit of gold, a heart of gold, and I'm grateful that I got that part of her because I'm a very loving person. Everything I do out of love. Even cook, I cook out of love. Everything I do out of love. It comes from a very loving place. And she taught me that. So I'm okay with being like her and then advancing in some areas. My mother grew up in Marianna or Aubrey, Arkansas. Unless you're from Arkansas, you probably don't even know where that's at. And so she was a country girl, and then she was the baby of the family. So, and then she had me at 30. So it's like I was way far down the line. She had me in Detroit, big city, and didn't know anything about that. And back then, like I said, you lived on the country and you did what your parents said, and that was it. Wasn't no talk back, wasn't no questions, wasn't no anything. So if I had to look back, I was never worried about being like her. And I definitely, same thing like Amber said, I definitely got my hustle mentality from her, because one thing my mama was going to do was work. Yeah. And I ain't never have to worry about where something was coming from. She had a moment where we struggled when I was about 14 and I had to move with my godmother, and she passed away too, God rest her soul. But she was so mean. My godmother was so mean. And I never told my mother, because for some reason, a part of me knew that it was nothing else that she could do but have me live with her so she can get back on her feet. But my godmother, she was so mean. And when I got older, I found myself doing the same thing to my son. Don't move, sit down, be still. Like I couldn't even, if I drink and make a mistake and make a noise while I'm drinking a drink, you know what I'm saying? And eventually when I got older, I told my mother that my godmother was very mean to me and that I have to do better with my son, because I'd be telling him not to move or don't do this or don't do that, instead of just allowing him to be a kid. And the look of pain and sadness that came over my mother's face when I told her that she was mean to me and I hated being there, it broke me down to the lowest common denominator. Like I literally almost could not breathe, because I felt like, because at this point I'm grown, but even then it broke her down. And I felt like as an adult, it was kind of like, I understand, because you had to do what you had to do. But I didn't realize that somewhere inside of her, that still bothered her or still hurt her. And they weren't doing therapy back then, but nobody talking to no counselors or no therapists or anything, or trying to understand trauma responses or anything like that.
Not at all.
So it just was what it was. And I'm okay with being like my mom. My mom was a very, very loving person and a very caring person. Everything she did was out of love and not out of survival. And that's a whole nother podcast. Love versus survival. Anyway.
Okay, and it's coming. It's coming.
So, I was raised out of love. Everything she did was out of love. She was just a loving person. She was also an Aries. Shout out to Aries. It's Aries.
They're the best.
But yeah. But now you can answer your question, Coco, right there.
But no, Keisha, I actually forgave my mom, because when I was 13, I already knew what it was. My mom pulled me to the side. She said, I don't want nobody else to come up to you and tell you nothing that I should have told you. She let me know she was on drugs. She let me know everything. So I ain't have nothing but respect for that. But as I was growing up, I always knew she was out there. She was in the streets, and I pretty much just watched her. She'll come in and out and try to parent. But, once I got to a certain age, I was like, girl, you can't tell me nothing. Like, for real. So it's like, as I got older, then I had my son, I seen a change in her, because like I was saying on the last episode, she is a better grandmother than she was. And I'd rather have that, because I looked at my grandma as my mom, and I had my village. It was like, I think it gave me everything I wanted so I wouldn't think about my mom being out there, in the street. So it's kind of like they patched it up, and they did a good job, because now it's like, even if she don't call me, I'm like, oh, I ain't heard from her. I pick up the phone and call her and see what she's doing, so it's hate or anything. It's definitely, from some trauma, but I forgave her and just moved on.
Little big sister, Kelly. How do you move on for crappy relationships when you find a lot of value being of service to others? So yes, forgive, but keep going back to the same crappy situations? Absolutely not. I even tell my kids, if I am toxic, you have the permission, and I want you to understand me clear, to put boundaries in and say, Mom, this is just not working. I need some time away. And you ain't even got to say that, honestly. You could just take the time if you need to and and do what you got to do. I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all sing Abby in the back.
Yeah, we did.
Sit right there for a second, please. Go ahead. I'm sorry. So, it is okay to forgive. That don't mean you gotta ever deal with that person ever again. In
That's
my
right.
eyes,
Right.
some people might say, well, you're supposed to forgive him 77 times. Okay, plus 70 times 70. Okay, that's cool. And I might. Don't mean I want you back in my circle. It does not
That's
mean
right.
that we're going to be cool. It does not mean you're going to eat at my
Right.
house. It does not mean that I will feed you if you're hungry. And I will make sure that you're okay as much as I possibly can, as long as it's not affecting my boundaries. And I'm very big on I'm very big on boundaries. So no, I don't care if it's a relationship. I don't care if it's a parent. I don't care if it's a grandparent. I don't care if I don't care what it is.
Mhm.
If it is not, if it's not given, if it's not serving you in a positive way that is making you want to be a better person, put those boundaries up and they can kick rocks.
Yeah.
So how
Because
I read that, you want to go ahead, sir?
no, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Okay, so when she says, how do you move on from crappy relationships when you find a lot of value of being service to others?
Mhm.
I am a giver. I always care about everybody and help everybody, and I pour and pour and pour and pour. What I realize is it came a point in time where I was kind of like, I have to stop this
Yeah.
because I'm pouring and pouring and pouring, and I'm just being drained and drained and drained.
Mhm.
And then I felt like I needed to change myself because why I keep pouring into people, but what it was I was pouring into the wrong people. I did
That's
not
right.
need to change myself. I had to change the people I
The
was around,
circle.
or my
That's
circle, or
right.
the people that I was pouring into, because I'm still the same person that pours into people, but the circle that I'm pouring into is also pouring back into me. There was a point in time where I was giving and giving and giving and wasn't getting anything in return. And then it was like dumping ground. I'm just draining myself until I don't have anything left. So it does kind of go with creating boundaries, but for me, it also was surrounding myself with the same type of individuals. The people that I pour into pour back in some way, shape, or form, or fashion. It may not be exactly what I'm pouring, but whatever they are pouring into me is of value. So
Mhm.
yeah, I forgave, and yeah, I moved on, but I tried to be mindful of the the not the triggers, the flags,
Mhm.
the red flags of a person that'll just take, and never be able to give. And then sometimes you deal with people that don't have the ability to give. You gotta be able to recognize those people too, because you will
Amen.
pour into somebody that can't give you nothing back when your
That's
cup is
right.
dry. And that don't make you a bad person because you cut them off, or maybe because they're in a bad place, or so on and so forth. But that's where that boundaries come in at. I can't keep pouring into you or beating a dead horse or doing something for you, and you not giving me something, whether it's a listening ear, whether it's some advice, whether it's love, something has to be in return in order for this to work so we can fill each other's cups. You know
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean?
And that cycle
Yeah.
has to be broken at some point because I mean, I remember ending a relationship, and although it was very painful for me to do so, I I forgave the person. I have forgiven the person for the action in which caused me to end it. But my good sis reminded me, just because you forgave that person doesn't mean that they are entitled to come back in your space. And
Mm-hmm.
I needed to hear that because for the longest time, I felt as if once you forgive them, if you hold on to that, or any piece of it to where you have disconnected completely, did you truly heal from it? Did you truly forgive? That's how I was taught. Did you truly forgive this person if it's an automatic stay away? But the moment, and this is where I got to go with this. Holding on to things that have proven themselves to be unhealthy, that have proven themselves to be not for you, that have proven to be toxic in any manner, will ultimately make you sick. I was well, And then I allowed a certain situation to take place. And then I felt like my life was upside down again, with my health. And it was because the moment I let this situation back in my space, the toxicity that originally was with it, which is what led me to end it, was still surfaced. The drama, the back talking, like the energy that was just draining me every day. And it happens so frequently in any relationship. So you just have to know and learn for yourself first. Like, once you say, I forgive you, or once you have forgiven a person in your heart, that does not mean let them back in. Or you're setting yourself up. You're literally setting yourself up.
Yeah.
Okay, Keisha asked another question, and then she got one that you need to think on, Ren. So make sure you read that while I'm answering it, so you could think on. That's what it says. Say,
Ooh.
Ren, think about this
In,
before you answer.
in all caps,
It
REN
did.
in all caps. Okay.
All right. Since you all have moved on without an apology, do you feel like the growth through your struggle, your parent may or may not deserve a thank you because those experiences shaped you in some way? I absolutely owe my mama thank you. Even if, and I'm hoping I read that right. Right. Absolutely. I mean, even bad. It doesn't even matter what. Even it doesn't matter what it is. Everything in life is for a reason, and you get a lesson out of it. What you do with that lesson and what you do with that reason is really up to you once that purpose has been served. So I absolutely, even if me and my mom never reconciled to how we are, it still would be a thank you because, like I said earlier, it wasn't all bad. My mama is been a single mother since she had me. Um, and not one relation, only relationship that really lasts is my stepfather until he got whatever happened with them. And I think I said that on the part one. But they weren't good relationships, but she still made sure that we had food. She might not was able to give me what I needed in other areas, but I ain't go hungry. I never had to go stay with someone because I didn't have a roof over my head. She showed me how to survive stuff that you just would be like, girl, I would have been underneath the mattress. No, because even though I know her downfalls at that time, I watched this lady still be able to pick up pieces over and over and over again, which is why I'm not no more. Okay. So that's in case my wife see this when she get up. Um, but I always say, and you can call me Elizabeth Taylor because I have no problem starting nothing over. Nothing. My mama showed me and I've done it. And once I do it once, then the second time I can make it perfected. Baby, the third or fourth time, baby, I'm a superstar. So I have no problem. I will give you enough grace because I need it too. But my mama taught me that. I ain't get that from nobody else because everybody else literally would just stick with whatever they were in until the person died. No, no, baby. My mama will be gone. Okay. Whether they left or she left, it was not a problem. So I would thank her for that.
Coco.
Well, but you're gonna thank her. Yeah, let's go ahead.
You going? No, go ahead, Coco. That's what I'm saying. Your time, girl.
As far as this is the apology, well, saying thank you. I don't know, because I don't tell my mom thank you either. It's like, so I'm gonna give you an example. Like, I don't never tell her thank you. She never told me thank you, or she apologize. Even when she buys something for the kids now or do for their birthdays or Christmas, they call and tell her thank you. You didn't do it for me. So it's like, call and say, grandma, thank you, because she got you this, so she got you that. So, I'm appreciative to her doing for them, but they old enough to say thank you, themselves. So
what about saying thank you for that street smarts part that she taught you?
She don't even know that. I don't want to talk. Listen, I don't want to talk. I hear no food on. I still want you to hurting.
That's real.
Yeah. That's honesty.
I actually have said thank you because I've had many opportunities to try and rebuild a healthier relationship with my mom and show her like a different side of life. You know what I mean? Something different than what she was exposed to, and in the midst of trying to repair our relationship, right? So I have at one time, like, you know what? Matter of fact, she was in the hospital. I was like, you know what? I appreciate what you have shown me, because let me tell you, I bet I don't be hungry. If I got to pull a receipt that was 3 days old from Taco Bell in my armrest and I ain't got no money, I bet my baby eat a taco because they messed up her order 3 days ago. That was a lesson learned. Okay.
Period.
That's what you call making it happen. I bet my baby don't be hungry. You getting this burrito. Okay. So I have actually said, not really thank you, but I'm like, good looking out. Because that's how she communicates, right? And she used to be like, you so damn dumb. And I'm like, okay, so that's her, you're welcome. You know what I'm saying? That's just that's that moment. But anything else, I'm not pushing it. No.
But for me,
So, you ain't gonna know.
I got an opportunity to tell my mom thank you for whatever I had learned or understood at the time. My mother went through dementia before she passed away. So as I was growing in my spirituality and growing in my faith, I learned more things about myself and I understood my mother more. So I wish I could have told her thank you on a whole lot more things, but I never really got that opportunity. But I did tell her thank you for the things that I learned at the time when I had the opportunity to. I would tell her, you know what, Mom, thank you for showing me whatever it was at the time, and I learned this from you, and I appreciate that, or whatever the case may be. And my mom was so loving; she'd be like, "Oh, baby, that's because I love you," or something like that. So, I did get an opportunity to do that at the time, and I thought about your question also.
I'm on with the answer now.
That had your name in it.
Let's go.
I forgot where it went, but I remember.
Oh, don't worry. I got it for you. Hold on. I got it. No, okay. All right. So I can find it for you now.
I got it. So as far as me pouring into people, you said, do I feel like that was a result of not having an apology from your mother? No, I don't. Or do I think that my constant outing was because I wanted to hold on to them so they could see the good in me when my parent missed it? So I think that my mother always knew that I was great. I know you meant pouring. That my mother always knew that I was great.
Tell Twin she could have just sat right beside you. That's what Twin could have did.
Right. Unedited behavior. Okay.
It's the raw us. It's
us. So I think the reason that I pour so much into people is because of what I saw in them. I don't think it necessarily was from a validation point. It was more for me, it was what I see in you and also where I am in life. I can use one of my past relationships as an example. I would trying to pull and pull and pull. Like I'm at level 85, you at level 15. So I'm pouring and pouring and pouring. I'm trying to get you where I'm at for you get left in the dust. And I'm like, I know you can get here. I can see it. Like I'm showing you things. I'm trying to pour into you. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do that. And it was more of I was being controlling. So then it went into, well, no, I'm not trying to be controlling. I'm trying to help you grow.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like I'm doing this because I care or because I love it at the time. You know what I'm saying? And because I know that you can be so much greater than what you are. But I realized along the way that I have a different type of eye. So what I see in you, you may not see in yourself.
That's right. Yeah.
And I had to get to a point where if I'm pouring it and you're not being receptive, and no matter what I'm doing, you giving me pushback, or no matter how I'm trying to help, you're not reflecting on yourself, then that's that beating the dead horse type of situation.
Yeah.
Right.
So
right.
I pour into people because I see potential and I want to see everybody do better.
Right.
And if I see something wrong or something that you might can change, I'm going to tell you my opinion. And then I also pour into people and say things because don't call me if you don't want to know.
Right.
Don't ask me if you don't want to know, because I'm gonna tell you the real every single time. I don't have
every time
anybody anything. I don't have a problem telling it. I'm talking about anything. There's some things that Some people be like, I want to say this, Ren, how would you say it? And then I'd be like, I would
Say
just say it. But the way that I say things comes off to
With
a lot
sugar.
of people as it's very sweet and funny,
Mhm.
but I dead ass. You know what I'm saying? So I could tell somebody, around here is real tart. Like I need you to do something with this. Like you don't smell that.
my
You know what I'm saying? But I tell somebody that and they'll be like, Ren, I love you. And I'm like, and I love you too. Let's go to the bathroom.
Mm.
You know what I
It's
mean?
the comments. It's the comments for
but
me.
I'm
Ren,
serious. And they be
Yeah.
funky sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So, oh my God. So
she done.
anyway, she's childish. Just childish.
She said she
But-
gave a disclaimer. She's not mature enough for this conversation. She said that.
She did.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
yeah, that was my thing. And then just to be perfectly honest and transparent, I dated a lot of Build-A-Bears,
Yeah, you did.
Ooh, fix it, honey. Fix it.
and I'm like, you got this good quality and this good quality. And if I put a little bit of stuff in here and pop a couple eyeballs right here, you might be all right.
You are right.
But that was unrealistic. Meeting somebody where they're at and understanding their position in life, not your life, their life, in life, period, also changed the dynamic of how I deal with people now. Because some people can't keep me up here. They ain't up here with me.
It
they
ain't
don't
meant to
have
be.
No.
It
So I
ain't meant to
can't-
be.
and I love you from a distance. And like Amber said, a lot of people associate with forgiveness with, okay, you can come back into my space.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
that's not the case. I would tell you, I forgive you, I love you, and lose my number.
Yeah.
Respectfully.
Respectful.
And they'd be like, oh, girl, you so. But then I never answer the phone again. And then they like,
hell, ain't nothing funny.
You know what I'm saying? Oh shit, she was serious. She ain't
Yeah.
fucking with me at all. And I'm okay with that. So I hope that answers your question, honey.
All right, now I wanna direct this a different way, right? Coco, you want to say you had something you want to say?
No, because I thought she wanted all us to answer that question.
Oh, do you? Do you? Wait, she right there.
I don't know. She put Ren in all capital letters. I just feel like I had to do that.
She did. She did. That's why I was like, Ren, because she put yours.
Yeah.
Do you want to add something to it, Coco?
I'll go
Not
because
me.
how to put it. So with they probably see something good in us, but I'm an asshole. I always, and I love my sister if she watching this, but I always let my mama know that she was only there for my sister and she raised my sister. That's a slow child. I let them do that, even though she not slow. It's always one
I know it's one. It's always one or two or three or something. Yeah.
on the mama, and I call them the slow kids. And I always make it known it's okay because you got your slow child. I'm the smartest. I always say that to her.
Crazy.
Coco.
Is that your answer, Coco?
That's her final answer.
And my wife will tell me, like, I say that all the time. She's the slow child.
Oh, God.
And
I just want to go ahead.
My mom, she be so mad at my grandma because my grandma got a slow child too, that she do everything for her. But I'm like, how can you be mad at my grandma when you doing the same thing? Both of y'all got them kids with the wheelchair.
Yeah,
I want everybody to know that this is our real sister in real life. Like, this is how she is every day. Okay, so this is real raw all day. And we love her for it. And if she changed, I'm gonna be mad.
Don't change for the people, honey. Don't change for the people. Because I'm gonna always have that vision of the chair, the wheelchair.
Girl, that was the first thing I seen was.
That's all I thought.
That disclaimer: we love everyone. Everyone is beautiful people, and
they are. She just talking about her siblings, not nobody else.
See, this is a prime example of Ren right here. You see how she came through with the sweetness, like boom, even on the wheelchair.
That's what you get when you need to say something hard. Because Ringo say it soft with the realness, though.
Yeah, I'm talking about my sister.
That's why I told them. Don't even worry about it. They know.
Mm-hmm. So my sister not slow, but I always be like, that's Rose's favorite. But that come with the fact that she was the oldest, and I mean, she took a lot more of Rose's shit than I did. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I got to take the good with the bad. But, you know, she has slow moments. I mean, she's coming through them, thank God. She's working through them now.
You don't do too much. Don't do too much on her. She a Capricorn. Don't do too much. But go
Oh, here
ahead.
we go.
Wow.
Here we go.
Wow.
Here we go.
Don't do too
Aries
much.
season
Just,
anyway.
but you
It's Aries season
carry on
anyway.
though. You're right,
And
but she better calm down.
The Tauruses are approaching, but we're not going to do that. Okay. But anyways, but she's evolving. I'm literally watching my sister right in front of me, like change. Like her whole life has been surrounded with taking care of everybody in that part of the family. To then, I mean, my sister had never traveled. She's about to go on her first flight, you know what I'm saying, in September. She's just evolving. And I'm so happy that I'm going to be able to be here that I'm here to witness it. But there's my mom do have a retarded favorite. It ain't her child.
Watch the word that you're not allowed to say that word no more.
Slow.
Oh, that's worse, probably.
Delayed.
No.
Delayed.
A little delayed.
A little delayed.
Challenged.
Yes.
Well, she's beyond that. Well, we're just gonna leave it there, okay? Because
Yeah, you trying to get us canceled on that third podcast.
I just
Right.
don't do it. Don't do it to the people. Beep. Where's y'all's little beep thing? Like in the
Yes.
Right.
We're just yes.
She didn't mean that, y'all.
didn't. Go ahead, Ren. Tell her she loves everybody.
Yes.
I'm
Oh,
not.
We're just guests. This
We're
is
guests.
the collage now. So developmentally
challenged.
That's exactly.
There it is.
I'm gonna fight you.
Boom.
Amen. I
I'm
wish
so
you was
happy we
here.
got two therapists in the chat.
Amen.
Okay, so I want to go a different way. Y'all therapists don't go nowhere because we might still need y'all, obviously. But we always talk about, you always hear about what the parent did, right? What the parent did, what the parent didn't do, the trauma the parent put us through, or the challenges the parents put us through. But let's talk about real quick, so we can end this good part two, but I want to make sure we put it all in there. Let's talk about the kid. Parents having to move on without getting an apology from your child.
Is that
Because,
is that
I mean-
still part of part 2, or is we going to part 3? Because I don't
No,
think
we're
there's
gonna do
enough
this.
time.
No. It is because I feel like if we could do it because we got something special next week. But you know, even in the news, like if y'all have been paying attention, it's so many celebrities. Their kids are coming out and they're bashing their parents and this and this. The parents ain't do this. The parents ain't do that. Whatever. And that's great because we've all had that somewhere in our life, right? If you didn't,
Right.
you are blessed. Okay. But us, the other ones, we had to get blessed from the lesson. But you don't hear any parent really, besides Monique, you don't really hear any parent say, because she's gonna say it, but you don't
She's
really
letting
hear
it out.
any parent say the hurt they got from a kid. It's just like leadership. People always talk about being hurt by church, right? They always hurt in ministry, this. But nobody talks about the hurt the pastor or the leaders get, right? So let's talk about that real quick. Let's jump on that. The hurt and pain from your child and still having to go through life, still be a parent, even though they don't apologize.
Are you asking that in the sense of us as children, or us
No,
as
I'm
parents
asking
to our
us
children?
as parents that have children, because all of us may have some crazy, wild children. I can go first while if y'all want to ponder a little bit.
I
Y'all
ain't got
want-
to ponder.
I ain't got to
Right now.
ponder him.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead. I'll go after.
Go ahead,
Down.
Ren.
I'm dealing with that right now. My only biological son is grown now, and he's gotten to the point where he think he know as much as me. He's on the same level as me, and you ain't even lived long enough to it be anywhere near my level, and it hurts because I thought we was better than that. You know what I'm saying? And I thought that we had a great relationship. And I thought that we had a good understanding because I talked real talk to him, kind of like Coco said. I taught him the ropes. I had my hustle days, where, thank God I never ended up in jail, but I sold
Mhm.
drugs and I did stuff like, and other things I shouldn't have been doing at that age and running from the police, a few other things, but I was always real with him. When
Mhm.
I got ready to have him, I decided that it was trying to change my life because I didn't want what I was doing to affect his life. So in knowing that, it's kind of like a catch-22 because it's like I did all that I could do. I talked to you. I communicated with you. I had real life conversations with you. When you
Mhm.
got a little older, I tried to have more adult level conversations with you and try not to treat you like you was 5. You know what I'm saying? I tried to understand your emotion and I tried to understand your feelings and I tried to. There's something wrong with my wife. I tried to understand. I tried my hardest to keep the lines of communication open, and ultimately, you gave me your ass to kiss.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So it's difficult because it's like, how do you not know you're wrong after all I've taught you?
Mhm.
Right.
So then it goes into, is it because you got somebody in your ear? Is it because you really feel like this? Are you being influenced by people? And I try to think of all of these things as a parent, and also just because I'm just that type of thinker. But it hurts. It hurts really bad. You know what I'm saying? I haven't
Mhm.
talked to my son in a minute, and it hurts. It hurts real bad because it's like, damn, I'm your only mother.
Yeah.
You're my only son.
Mhm.
And my mother also helped me raise him because I was a little bit younger, and she's gone. You
Mhm.
watch her go through dementia. You saw how hard that was. You
Mhm.
know that once it's gone, she's gone, it's gone, it's final. So I know that hurts you just as much that it hurt me because that was your grandma and that was my
Yeah.
mother. So why ruin the relationship with your mother when you know what losing a mother looks
Mhm.
like? I think that's the harshest part for me. And then the fact of feeling like you just don't give a fuck. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, damn, do you just not give a fuck? Like, but kids have a tendency, shit, we was kids, he have a tendency to
Mhm.
think that parents have feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They think we just
Yeah.
Teflon out here and and
Yeah.
and and, and nothing hurts us. It just bounce off of us and roll on. So it's
Especially the
difficult,
older they get. Especially the older
especially the
they
older
get.
they get. It's
You
really
know.
difficult because I do have
Mhm.
feelings, my guy.
Yeah.
All right.
You know,
So, Taren, you
Yeah.
said our kids sometimes think we Teflon. I feel like a part of that is our fault. Like, and the
yeah,
reason I'm saying that is, well, I know you get it, but for the viewers that might not, we teach our kids are how we say don't do what we do what we say.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
if you teach your kids, if they have to always see you tough, right? They don't know none of the struggle you've been through to get them to
Right.
wherever they are in life. They never seen you in a weak position ever. Not saying you have to be, but they never seen you in a weak position. You showed them, even if you say I love you 18,000 times with the hugs and everything, you still show because I definitely do it.
I do
Um,
too. Mhm.
we definitely showed them a level of superhero
Mhm.
that there is no kryptonite, even though they are our kryptonite. The world we can get past, we can get through, but when our kids do something, or we have a falling out with them, it doesn't matter if you have 1 or 10. If
Yeah.
it's something off with the child and the parent, then it's a aching in your heart that you just have. The kid has it too. They're just too stubborn to show it right now because they ain't get to where we are now. But that's what we taught them. We taught them that we are strong, and we do it thinking that as long as I shield you and certain stuff you just don't need to know, then I'm making and you good, then you good. But I'm not showing you that it is okay to be vulnerable because I ain't gonna say
Mhm.
soft. It's okay to be
Mhm.
vulnerable. You know what I mean? Not now. Some people show it, and the kids still be stubborn
yeah,
as hell.
I showed it. I
Well, I know you
definitely
do
showed
because
it.
you have sugar and everything. You be our cuss outs with sugar.
Not all the time.
Only know
Enough.
once. I only know
Enough.
once.
I've experienced it with my daughter because, and it wasn't anything like that was. I think it was more along the lines of where I wanted to protect her from enduring certain things that I witnessed growing up. So, like in the summertime, she would always want to go to Akron, where my mom and the rest of my family is at. And I used to always just be like, no, I don't want you there because, you know, I don't want you to think that this is the right way to live. You know what I'm saying? I struggled, I survived, I hustled to get out of those situations. So the last thing I want is while you're at this age of being impressionable and being a sponge, I need you to be okay with just being in this space. Now, don't get me wrong, I didn't keep her from them by no means. Like I didn't keep her from them, but I definitely tried to keep like a tighter rein on her. But as she got older, I think it bit me in the ass a little bit because it was like she turned 18 and she was like, I'm going to Akron for a week and ended up staying a month. Then I was like, okay, is you coming home? And no, not yet, you know. And then one day I'll never forget, I came home and everything in her closet was gone. When I tell you, I felt like I just got broke up with my first love. Like I legit was on the closet floor, like I was having a divorce. Like it was a pain that I'll never forget because I felt, again, like someone just left me. And what did I do? And how I could have done it differently. And then I go like you, Ren, you go down this checklist. Well, I do this, I did this, I had this conversation, I provided this, I was this person. You can talk to me about anything. Why would you just leave me like that? And fast forward to 2 years later when she came back home and we had our first adult conversation in the driveway of my home. Like, well, and she told me like, well, Mom, I just felt like you don't listen to me as an adult. That hit different. It made me realize like, okay, she is grown. She is an adult, although she hasn't endured adult things yet. But I had to change the way I was listening or how I heard her, and definitely how I spoke to her. It was no more get your ass in this house. Okay, you got when you come home, you know, and you have a curfew naturally because you still in my house and you're an adult, but it ain't gonna be 11 o'clock, you know. So things had to change in that area, but it was a transition for me. And to this day, I still find myself like checking in, like I didn't hurt your feelings or I didn't make you feel a certain kind of way when I said X, Y, and Z, because I'm not trying to dictate your life. I'm trying to guide you. And now she has an understanding and we're able to have those kind of conversations, whereas we couldn't in the past. So
Coco, you want to go before I answer Keisha?
I would say, because you know, my kids are, I don't know. I have had one incident with my son though. He told me when he got mad, he told me I was a horrible parent. So you know me, I said, okay, don't say what you got.
oh,
He's like, well, he won't be yelling at me. I said, ask him where my money at. If you want, where's my money? What? Back on that level with them, because my thing is, can't nobody treat you better than your parents. No.
True.
And even though that's their dad, you ain't gonna have everything you have here, there.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, it still goes back to I'm doing this, but if it weren't for me and my wife, what would you have? Because again, where's my money? You ain't send me no money to help. You see what I'm saying? So why you saying, oh, he gonna yell and this, that, and other? Why do I yell at you? Because you don't do what I asked you to do. I shouldn't come home and ain't no chores done. Yeah. And if you don't want to hear my mouth, do what I asked you to do.
That's simple. Simple. Okay, so when I've always had I used to not want to date people that had kids because I had kids and I felt like if you got kids that would be too much. But I know that's crazy, right? But but
I'm sitting here like I can't believe that just came out her mouth.
And I'm a Capricorn. I like what I like, and I like what I like. And my aunt helped raise me too. She made sure that I had the first of everything. So okay, but my second marriage, he had 2 kids, and that was the first time I dated somebody that had kids because I was the one that came in with the kid, right? And so I feel like a bonus kid is the same thing as an adoptive kid. They're not really yours, but you still gotta love them the exact same way. How can I explain that concept? loving them. Like kids don't have to always see you're strong. Like they don't because you're going to teach them to literally be just like you. And I'm sure all of us got parts in us that
Mhm.
we wish we could soften up, but we can't because of the life experiences that we've been through. So this is how we know
Right.
how to be. This is how we know to survive. That survive versus love. If it wasn't for the people that gave me the love part of it, I probably would have been in survival mode with my kids with everything. Now I was at first because again, I had several before I was 22, but but it's literally having that balance. Like you want to teach them how to survive, but you want to be able to show them that if you're having a weak moment, it's okay with the communication and like having those deep conversations. If a struggle do come up, sit them down and talk about that struggle fully. If you got to sacrifice something, I ain't talking about like you out here, selling feet pics. But if you gotta sacrifice something, take a receipt back, show them what you had to do or what you have to do to make sure they're okay. One, it's gonna make them probably grind harder because they're gonna see that you're not a slouch anyway, and it's nothing you would do for them. Because you could give somebody everything. You can give them a house, you can give them their food, whatever the case may be. But a lot of kids feel like that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
That's your job. That's what you're
Mhm.
supposed to do.
Yeah.
Not realize that I can feed you peanut butter and jelly every day, and we can live in a shed because it's a roof and it got plumbing and it got lights. Okay, we got a
Mhm.
bed and a blanket,
Mhm.
and you got clothes on your feet, and you're good, and nobody's gonna come and take you from me, right?
That's right. That's right.
But showing them, and I'm hoping I'm answering right. And if I'm not, put in the group or just yell in the background because I know you like real close by.
Girl.
So, um, so I would make a balance. Like you ain't got to tell them everything because they still kids, and some stuff they just not mentally prepared to handle. But I feel like having that balance of survival and that extra love. I feel like love just like we always say, love covers a lot. Love covers and guides a lot. A lot. Like I
Yeah.
have a mentor, and when I tell you, and she's one of my best friends as well. When I tell you the love that she gives, but the but the sternness that she gives, like I know what to take to her. I know what not to take. Like I take everything, but I know if if I want to hear her answer or not. If I want to hear her answer, like this lady could literally probably tell me I am batshit crazy and I need to go lay on somebody's sofa and don't come off until I get my shit together. It is not gonna sound like that coming from her because she doesn't give me. She gives me mother, right? She gives me this mother love, but it's a balance because I know after she pull that band-aid off and I gotta go sit with it for a second, she gonna come back over there and she gonna clean it up and she gonna put whatever I need on it to make that new skin come back. And then she gonna send me on my way with the tools that I need. So it's the balance of it. And a lot of people that's around me, they always say, if she say it, I'll take it better. I do. She knows how to give it to me. And I have friends that can do too. But when it's for her, it's that mother figure that can give it to me raw, but she giving it to me with the love too. So because she survived, she's a survivor, but she also gave me, the balance. Let me know if I answered that. I know she hear me talking to her in the background.
Girl.
I do
Well,
see Candy's question about
I was just about
nurturing
to
as
say
Black
that.
mothers.
She
So
said,
for
as Black
me,
mothers, go ahead. Go
no,
ahead.
go ahead. You read it.
As Black mothers, how do you balance the strong Black woman schema and you said yeah schema and showing your kids that they can be vulnerable and it doesn't make them weak. Also raising Black sons who may be socialized to not show emotions for oh that's good. Go ahead. I gotta go
Yeah.
next. That's good.
Yes. So for me, my son, we'll start with my son. Um, for him, it was an issue because he was a very emotional kid. Elijah, I used to say all the time, like he's my kid that wants to heal the world, and his heart is so big. And I ain't gonna lie. At one time, I was like, I wonder if my baby gonna be gay because he was always emotional. And then I was like, do you need to talk about something else other than crying? And then I like realized as he got older, like those opportunities of having those kind of conversations with him actually molded him to be able to continue to have those emotional conversations
Hmm.
when he's going through it and he's not considered soft. He'll tell his friends in a heartbeat, like you can think whatever you want, but I'm okay with who I am and what I'm feeling and how I'm expressing it. As far as my daughter and raising her, I have to say, I'm just gonna acknowledge my and be accountable in how I raised her. It was like, you're gonna have a family one day, and you can't let these people in the streets run over you, because this is what they out here to do. And I felt like, because of my trauma growing up, I had to be extra hard with her, extra careful with her. But in watching her as an adult now, and even as a mother, and having her relationship, I see a lot of myself in her, and I'd be like, come on, baby girl, you got to ease up a little bit. Like, you can't be that rough. You can't be that, like, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to soften up just a tad bit. Let that man breathe. Like, relax. Even at work, I'm like, okay, what's going on? Today we had a conversation. So I don't want to say fault myself, but I do take fault in that area, because she witnessed, like Shay said earlier, the strong mom. Like, this is what it is. I'm going to do whatever I have to do, and I'm going to do it this way. And she's witnessed relationships, and she's witnessed me talk to people a certain kind of way. So even as children, yeah, they mimic it, but it does carry on in adulthood. So now I'm forced to try and kind of, like, I don't want to say reprogram, but redirect that energy when I witness it in her, because I don't want her to get older and be like, okay, I'm alone, or I'm sad, or why don't these people want to talk to me because of how you're handling them. So go ahead, Shay.
So I have biologically I have 2 boys and I have 4 girls. If you were around my girls, you would think they were my boys. If you were around my boys, you would think, as Kelly said, the whole soft thing, right? Total opposite, because like I said earlier, I raised them more so off of survival, because that's what I knew then. But with my sons, I remember the first time my son cried, because my kids got men. Like, they are men, okay? They ain't no whole bunch of emotions on your face. You get it together, you pull yourself together, you go out here and you grind for it, and because life ain't giving you nothing. We ain't got time for it. They're not gonna say it like that at all. They're very, very loving, but they are men. Like, I mean, like that uncle that gonna be like, girl, get up. Ain't nothing wrong with you. Dust that off. That's them. But I remember the first time my oldest son was about to cry, and I think he stopped himself. And I literally had to remind myself to literally be like, it's okay. Like, it's okay to have an emotional day. And even my 11-year-old, baby, the wind could blow and that baby's going to cry. And I have to remind myself, even still, not to say, you all right. You're not all right, because you're crying. So making sure that I'm recognizing what your feelings are, so that when you get older and you have kids, you won't have to, 1, go back and apologize prayerfully for anything. 2, you can teach them that it's okay, that if you're hurt, you're hurt, and you can say that. If you're mad, you're mad. Just say it respectfully if it warrants that. If it don't, it is what it is. But it's okay. It's okay, because I want you to be men, but I want you to be the men that it's okay. But I also make sure they got a safe place to be that. And I feel like a lot of men that's like their dads and dads their age, they had to be the provider or the safety net for their moms, or the safety net for siblings or cousins or whoever. And it's plenty of men that's like that. So you didn't have that safety place or have the time that you needed to be able to be whatever you wanted to be, to say that you hurt that day, because somebody else needs you. So you had to pack that stuff up and put it in the back burner and handle them. And then you never come back and unpack it. I mean, we do it too as women, but I had to make sure my especially my sons, to know that it's okay, only because they are boys, and the world will act like if you cry, then you soft, or something wrong with you. No, it's not. If you don't cry, something wrong with you. Please understand that. If you not crying because your feelings is hurt, not saying everybody has to cry, but if something is really bothering you, not deaf, it shouldn't be deaf when you cry. If something really hurts your feelings and you feel emotional, there should be no reason that you got to pull those tears back. And if you find yourself, and I'm talking to you viewers, so anybody see this later, if you find yourself doing that, go sit on somebody's sofa. like ASAP, because you putting that in somebody else, and you're gonna literally light their life up for real.
Mhm.
Well, in my from my point of view, I, as far as in general, as a strong mother, it was difficult to show weakness
Mhm.
because although I know my mother went through things, I never see her cry. She just kept going. I mean, I'm pretty sure she had her bathroom cries, her car cries, and all the other cries that I had
Mhm.
Mhm.
myself, but I never really saw her cry. So initially, with my oldest son, it was at first it was suck it up, suck it up, because that's what I knew, and I was young then. So as I got older, I would I would always be like, it's okay to feel how you feel like you feel, pray about it, go to sleep. It's joy in the morning, and I always told him that it was older though, like when he was high teens. He's 21 now, so when he was high teens, I was saying those things. Now I approach it different with my baby boy. He's 8, so when he has a meltdown or he's upset about whatever happened at school or whatever the case may be,
Mhm.
I always ask him, why is he crying, or what is he feeling that makes him cry? Now, typically he's 8 years old, so it's fear of getting in trouble, or I didn't want to do
Right.
bad, or I
Mhm.
didn't want to this or whatever. And then,
Mhm.
or when he comes in, and as soon as I'm like, so what did you do? And he's like, "Ah," and he just freak out and have a whole cry. I always tell him, go in the bathroom, have your moment, wipe your face, and then when you come out, we're going to talk. Because I can't talk to you while you're in
Mhm.
this state.
Mhm.
So it's okay to feel how you feel,
Mhm.
and it's okay to feel. Then once you get it out, wipe your face, get it together, and then let's have a conversation about what happened and how you get here.
Mhm.
So I think that being a strong black mother and raising strong black men, or strong men, period, um, it all comes with the maturity as a parent. And that's
I'm sick.
pretty
I'm
much.
sick of your wife.
I'm just
Sick of
we
your
gonna
wife.
I'm gonna that's what I'm gonna do. Um, but it's it's just really difficult. You know what I'm saying? It's you because you we as we said from the beginning of this call, as we said from last week call, we pour into our children what we know.
Right.
And it's
Mhm.
not
Right.
until you reach a maturity level that you're able to be like, well, damn, I didn't want to feel like that when I was that age.
Right.
So when we try to change the dynamic, or like you were saying, Amber, restructure how you deal with emotion, instead of
Yeah.
you a boy, suck it up, you be a
Right.
man, be
Mhm.
strong. Because I heard that from uncles to everybody, to
Yeah.
all of my cousins. As far
Mhm.
back as I can remember, they always said that. I ain't never seen my brother cry, not even at my damn mama funeral. Like,
Mhm.
I've never seen my father cry. I seen my grandfather cry one time, and that was when my grandmother passed away. And it was like 5 tears, and he hit them mugs real quick, and then he was straight.
Mhm.
They always taught to be strong, and
Yeah.
that got to be
Mhm.
a bad place to be
It
mentally.
Yeah.
is. It
You know what I'm
is.
saying? Like, that has to be a
Yes.
bad place to be mentally. I know I don't cry in front of people, really.
Yeah.
You probably knew I cried, but I ain't really a person to cry in front of people. But I can imagine feeling like I can't cry at all. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
My,
you're like you become desensitized,
you
and
do.
that's
Yeah.
I
and you.
am.
Yeah. Well.
That's one. But what's crazy is I am very much. If you see me cry, baby, please understand. Either I could not hold them no longer, or
Mhm.
I am so extremely hurt. Again, I couldn't hold them no longer, or I feel very, 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 very safe with you, right?
Mhm.
But even with me feeling safe, it'll come. But you can
Yeah.
best believe, baby, I'm gonna slide them suckers on together. I'm gonna think about something that's gonna
Show
either piss me off or make me laugh, or I'm gonna
or
change the
just hang
subject because
up
the sky is blue, or hang up.
or just hang
I
up.
don't. But what's crazy is I will not let my I will not. If my daughters or if my sons call me and they having a problem and they going through their emotions, I will not, I will listen to everything they are saying because I want you to know you got a voice. I want you to know it's okay what you feel. And I do not want you to be where I'm in, where I am now, trying to
Yeah.
unpack being okay to be emotional when you need to be, right?
Yeah.
And knowing how to handle your emotions in a respectful way. Because that's important too, because that depends on what you're getting back, right?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
baby, I'm one of the most girl, baby. I will be gone. I know you can hurt me to my core, and I can literally have a whole ball out second, and I mean it will be a second, and no, I will shut them tears off and be like, well, I guess that obituary was nice because that's what you become to me, just so I don't feel nothing. But I will not
Yep.
let my kids feel that.
Yeah.
You got anything, Cole?
I normally just I have always let my kids voice how they feel. That's a good and a bad thing sometimes because I be like, who are you talking to? But they're just, pretty much expressing how they feel. I was never allowed to do that because I was raised, don't talk back. No matter what you say, it's talking back.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Or, they be like, I don't want to hear it. And parents have to know they're wrong. They don't know everything. And my grandma thought she knew everything. My mom thought she knew everything. And they used to be wrong 99% of the time. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
we don't tell you about this person or that person, growing up. So I just allow them to vent and tell me how they feel. And it don't phase me. I listen. I'm gonna just keep it pushing. I try to change, what I do going forward. But, it just depends on the situation because I'm not gonna keep telling you the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah, no. Mm-mm.
And then it triggers to me, okay, you just gotta fall face forward first. And then I'll just be here to welcome you open arms to help you fix your mistake.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
hmm
Mm-hmm.
Somebody had said, "When you mad, don't skip that." That's true. Because in
That's my
certain
daughter because
situations,
I said, oh, that was my daughter because I only said about the crying or emotion and stuff. And she said, "Are you mad?" Because we stay
oh
mad,
yeah,
but don't worry about it.
yeah. If I'm emotionally talking and I'm crying, I'm probably about to set something on fire.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Don't even come my way. Just clear the
Period.
path.
Ain't
Just
got
clear
nothing
the
to do with
path.
Listen,
softness, baby. Ain't got nothing to do with being soft
I'm
at
pretty
all.
much trying to
Yeah.
remember that being in jail is not a good thing.
No, and I don't look good in orange anymore because they changed the color.
Well, I haven't been to
Yeah.
jail, but I'm gonna take y'all word for it because I just don't believe in giving my control over because that's too much. I would be in solitary every day. Okay.
Baby, it's a different life, and I don't want to
I
have no
don't want
parts.
it.
So,
Yeah, I don't want it.
mm-mm.
Um,
I'm gonna trust what y'all said. I believe y'all.
I believe y'all. Okay.
What you ready to say, Cole? Like you had something.
Oh, nothing.
Okay, okay.
I'm just
All right.
agreeing.
I
I was
agree.
Mhm.
All right. So we're gonna go ahead and give our final thoughts. I'm gonna go ahead and start off with my partner first. Because I love her.
Pretty much my final thought, because I know they're gonna all be different. It's okay that you haven't had that apology. Try to forgive anyway. Keep it pushing. Because you don't want to block your blessing. You want to, make sure you continue with your growth and just see what the outcome is. At the end, because they may come back years from now and still apologize. Sometimes it takes
Mhm.
people longer than others to apologize or see they're wrong.
Yeah.
Amber.
Um, I agree with Coke. Oh, because for me, like I said earlier, like every day is another opportunity to learn something, and it's just a matter of where you're at personally in your life, and are you ready to heal because and continue your healing because carrying that you're just stunting your growth. You're just stunting your
Hmm.
blessings. You're blocking what God has for you and what that bigger lesson is, for you and only you. And holding on to that, they're not losing any sleep at night, but you are. And I no longer want to lose sleep. So every day is just another opportunity to do it the right way.
So it's pretty much the generally the same thing. For me, I feel like always, like I said earlier, forgive that person for yourself. Don't allow anybody to have that much power over you. You know what I mean? It was a quote.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even remember the person that said it, but it was something along the lines of, and I use it for day to day. Um, your attitude depends on the ability to choose one thought over another.
Hmm.
And I try to live by that. So when you give somebody control, it can be anything. When you give somebody that much control that you walking around and you're angry and you're upset, that's power over you. So if you
Mm-hmm.
look at it like, are you going to give your power away or are you going to take your power back? Because your only person that can control my mind is me. So I'm not going to allow anybody else to do that for me. So forgiving you is my apology. And I'm okay with that.
Yep.
And I'm going to tell you that from a mom that had to apologize multiple times and have kids that even apologize. Apology is okay. It does not mean that you soft. It does not, and that's for both people. It does not mean you're soft. It does not take anything away from you when you give it. It actually gives you strength to show that you can actually acknowledge someone else's issues, hurt, whatever it may be. Um, Whether you fully caused it or halfway caused it, if someone tells you that you hurt them, it doesn't matter really if you believe them or not. What matters is you acknowledging what they say because their perspective and what they take from how you did whatever happened or did is their perspective. You can't change that.
Mhm.
And I think the world would be such a greater place if we all learned that at such an earlier age. Like if our parents or our grandparents and great grandparents were able to be themselves, if they were able to show emotions and not have to be so strong to carry their generations and the generations after them on their backs, even when they're no longer here, the world will be better. I really feel that way. An apology goes a long way. It heals a lot of things. A simple "I am sorry" heals so much. So if it's anybody in your life that you feel like you owe that to, use that word. Just try it. Just a simple "I'm sorry" for whatever. It don't even have to be. It could be a blanket apology that covers multiple things because that's what love does. It covers so much. So we thank you guys for tuning in. As always, we love our village that shows up every Wednesday. Our newcomers stay around because it only gets better. We thank our guests for making that, taking out their wonderful Wednesday to give it to us. We really, really appreciate y'all. Coco, I appreciate everything about you. And just a special announcement. Next Wednesday, we are going to have pretty much a singles night. Now that don't
Yeah.
mean y'all that's in a relationship don't watch. You still watch because you might learn something. But
Oh,
but
so we're
but we're gonna have a singles night. It's pretty much gonna be almost like a speed dating live. And we
next
Oh,
got
week.
some
that's
people that are looking to possibly find a connection. Don't gotta be love. It might just be a connection. But that's what we're
Oh,
doing, baby.
Bria, I'm sorry.
ooh.
huh? I'm sorry.
Oh, not Ren won't be a guest speaker. I know that's right.
No, she won't. She won't. She won't.
Oh,
I promise.
oh my
Because
God. I'm
I don't
okay
want no
with that.
problems. Yeah, I
She
don't want no
just said,
problems.
Oh, Lord from the back.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
y'all.
Okay.
You
I'm
gotta
sorry.
walk.
But yeah,
Yep.
so please still tune in. Please tune in. Flyers and advertising will be coming out soon. Please make sure you pay attention to
Exciting.
Coco's page as well as my page. Like, share, subscribe. If you have any questions, any topics that you want to hear, I promise you we have plenty to last for a year. However, we would love to hear from our viewers, our family, our friends, our new possible friends. Just bring it. Just email it to chat with Cola at yahoo.com. We will not say this topic came from Billy Bob. We're not going to do that. We're just going to bring the topic. Good night. Be blessed. Apologize. Love on people. Be extra hard because life tomorrow is not promised, and life for tomorrow is not promised.
Okay.
I agree.
Good
Peace.
night. Peace.
Good night.
Good night.